in the past. But now, everywhere I go, I bring the party with me. It's always a party. Yeah. So, everywhere I go now, I'm taking a good vibration with me, and people do pick up on it. But this is not to say that these defense mechanisms that turned into survival instincts can just be discarded. It's not an overnight sensation, at least it wasn't for me. Took a lot of work, took a lot of repetition, took these affirmations in the morning, the reminders. Because that's what I say. Every affirmation, every prayer, everything that I say to myself in the morning, I start with thank you for reminding me. Because I know it, but my superpower is forgetting. And I can forget it just like that. And I need constant reminders. I need people around me who are walking a path. Doesn't have to be my path, doesn't have to be the exact same thing, but a similar path. Working towards enlightenment, working towards a higher consciousness, a higher way of being. And this support, because I was brought up to do it yourself, I was self-sufficiency was a big thing for me. And I would claim that nothing was given to me. I earned it. I was self-made in so many ways, and I could rattle off these things. And I became a chess master, but I never had a chess coach. I never had anyone helping me. I did it by reading my books on chess, by playing in tournaments and getting taught some lessons that stung, but that I got better from. And so, but the delusion I was under now was that I was doing it by myself. And I've told stories to you in the past about how even when I would give up, we talk about a dry January, I would give up drugs and alcohol for a period of time. And then I would just think, I got this. I can quit anytime. It's my choice. But when you bend the knee to the tyranny of addiction, you lose your power of choice. And you're faced with compulsions. And these compulsions, you are compelled to do certain things that you never thought you would do. Lie, cheat, steal. Those are things that I would never think of me in terms of me. But when I was in my addiction, that's what I did. And I tell the people I work with now, when I catch them in a lie, I say all addicts are liars until they aren't. And that's the moment when you do this transformation. And the lies are no longer necessary. Because if you tell the truth and you're honest, you don't have to remember what you told someone else when you told them. And you don't have to remember, oh, what did I say? I have to remember. None of that.
That's
So
right.
this obsession of your mind, and the obsession of the addict is the compulsion. Like, I don't have enough. Where can I get more? And if I get more, will that be enough? And it's never enough. So you're consumed with thinking about how to get more. And if I have one beer is not enough. Two would be better, but two is not enough either. And this is not something that right now I have the power of choice over that first drink. If I take that first drink, man, the power that I'm giving up so much power over that second drink. And if I take that second drink, all bets are off. I've lost the power of choice. I'm a drunk again. I'm an addict again. So my only choice is not to take that first one. But the effect on the family, that what it puts the family through, that's another topic entirely. And that's why John was talking with us last week and why John is here today to talk some more about it. Tell us a little bit about your experience, John, about being the father of someone who's in the throes of addiction and how you might feel alone, even though we're telling you that you're not, that there's so many families in your situation dealing with what you're dealing with. And, but this feeling of aloneness can be treated. And in my case, I know that my addiction can never be cured, but it can be treated. And part of a treatment is to speak about it. I am neither blaming anyone else, nor am I ashamed that I went through what I went through. My understanding is that I went through it so that I could speak with authenticity about it. And that's what you did last week, John. I'm so proud of you. And thank you again for being here. And do you have anything that you want that's on your mind that you're struggling with, or that you want to uh, brag about, or uh, ask for help with?
Thank you, James. Again, for people that weren't here last time, my name is John McCallum. I'm here like standing up for the families, the friends, spouses, everybody that deals with somebody that is going through those issues that James talked about from it. Again, not personally, but I think that sometimes us is either a parent, a friend, coworker, whoever that really cares about other people might wear it worse. And even from the time, I appreciate everybody last week. I gotta say, Bubba, you were right. I can share that story because 3 hours later, I went through hell and back with my son just around dropping the backpack off. And we can get into that. But yeah, I don't even know where to begin from it. So I have my youngest son is dealing with addiction. Currently is a runaway. Adopted him when he was 3.5. You know, raised. He's biracial. His he was born. His bio mom was addicted and used during her 3 trimesters. Um, eh, and she was white. Not really sure who the father is, even though we have some ideas. But he has 3 other half bio siblings, 2 of which all 3 went to the foster system, just like my son did. 2 dealt with their own addiction, all the way, including now they're trying to get help. And that's where my son currently is, unfortunately. So, I mean, there's so many layers to it. I think people learned that last time and still trying to navigate a lot of different things because he's 15 years old going into a sophomore year and very good football player, probably the best player in his class. But right now, I'm just worried about him finding a place to go to school. Outside of all his other great talents, because he is dealing with using on a daily basis. And a lot of things that are going into it is he's the guy that I say this all the time, that he's going to lead this path of tornado. I always picture like the Tasmanian devil, from Bugs Bunny, that's spinning around and doing whatever when he's using, and it's just this path of destruction behind it. So even last week, he's over at his ex-girlfriend, kind of girlfriend's place. Mom and I are talking nonstop just about safety and just what needs to happen. He's working for her husband that is basically kind of enabling to by giving cash, and say don't give him cash because we know where it's going to go to. And the long story short, like his girlfriend overdoses, has to go to the hospital on unknown substance. Then very next day was when I was talking here, and he's looking for clothes because he's been gone for 3 weeks because he thinks he can figure it out, all because we're just trying to get him into a facility to be taken care of. He's got a drug and alcohol counselor, very, very good. African American that can relate because that's what he wanted, guy because that's what he wanted. Um, and my son's still on the run, because he's trying to avoid all of it. I kind of shared that story. So, he's been on the run, ran from cops, you know, got away with it. I was following him on Snapchat. you know, by the way, for all the parents out there, friends, siblings, Snapchat is not a good thing because that's how most of the deals, at least for my son, get done because it goes away and it's short term. But anyway, so he needed more clothes. Um, from the professionals told me that you need to bring it there because you're dealing with CPS stuff and neglect. So I'm like, okay. Uh, Went through traffic after being on the show. Took it over to where he was working with um, the people I'd mentioned before. His ex-girlfriend's mom invited me in to their house. I parked. I was just going to drop off the backpack, call it good. And she really wanted to talk. So we're talking, out back, you know, grab a couple bottles of water. We're just, because she wants to know some things that didn't make sense. So I kind of filled her in. Um, and she was like, wow, okay. The next thing I know, her husband walks in and is like, I don't, sorry if my language is bad. I don't know why the fuck you're here. You need to get the fuck out of here. Like, whatever. I'm like, whoa. And she starts freaking out. I was like, no, I invited him in. Like, we're here talking about his son. And he's like, I don't give a shit. And he's in my face. And then I look and I see my son right behind him. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, hey, but then they both are like hardcore in my face. And I'm just like, get out of here. Like, they're screaming at me. I'm just like, okay, I won't say some other things. Uh, just so you know, if you guys want to see, I'm sorry, there's going to be some language in here that's not good. This is a text message my son sent me. You can see the time, the date stamp.
We can't really see it,
So,
John. It's small, man,
well,
but we
yeah,
believe you.
just say, you better not be there when I get back, N word. Uh, Ain't shit to talk about. You best not be there when you get back, N word. To me.
Wow. To you.
Uh, to me, yeah. Uh, so I was just like, okay. The mom calls me. She's like, I'm so sorry. She's crying. She left the place. Just around like, hey. The first thing I said is like, are you okay? Because those two came in hot. And she goes, no, I told him you can come in. So I explained the whole thing. I'm just like, I just want to know if you're okay. She's like, no, I removed myself. But then a lot of truths started happening, coming out. My son was supposed to be on Thursday, so yesterday, going into a 45-day residential. And when he finally got a hold of him, he says, I'm not going. And then there were Snapchats of him taking shots with his half bio sibling, one of them, not the one he's currently staying at, the other one. So he was doing that instead. And the worst part is it was a very good place to be, like treatment center, very good person. I praise him, if I could say his name, I would, just because I'm very thankful. And he's just like, I'm sorry, John, like I'm gonna have to drop him as a client, because we have a lot of other people that we need to serve. I'm like, please do, you know. He doesn't want to get the help. So it's time to move on. He goes, okay, I said, I'm gonna have to. I'm like, okay. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is at this point. Um, the next few text messages coming from was from the family, and I explaining like okay, this happened. This is all the stuff that I was trying to tell everybody because he hasn't had a relationship with him until now that he's going to do all this to try to get what he wants. And next thing we're like, well, uh, for 30 days, can you sign over just temporary rights, for my room? I'm like, no. He has all the resources he needs right here. He just doesn't want to take the accountability, take those next steps to become healthy and, to be the person that he actually is. And they're like, okay, well, can you send money? And the next thing is just money, money, money. I'm like, no, again, he has all the resources that he needs, here, and we'll go from there. And I still, since that message, haven't heard from him.
Wow. Wow. And let me say something because this is blowing my mind, kind of. I'm sitting here, it's all kind of stuff going through my head right now when I'm listening to you, John. I'm seriously gonna pray for your son and pray for you, my brother. Be strong. I'm gonna say this because it brought back a memory of something. All of these things that are going on in this kid's life that he's going through, he has no idea of what he's doing. What's crossing my mind is even when or if when he stops, when he comes to himself, when he gets help and he starts to want to recover or whatever, the carnage is still there. That carnage, what do you do with that carnage, James? Because I had a friend who owed some drug dealers because he was getting high and he owed them money, but he stopped doing drugs. He stopped. I quit. He gave it up, right? And he told me, he says, but I owed them. And I told him, I said, just because you stopped doesn't erase the carnage. You still have to address all of that. You got to pay them. Because if it was that easy, everybody that quit, they don't they've been getting drugs for these people and they owe these people and all of that's still in a part of your life until you get rid of it. See, and I was just thinking about what John is saying about what his son is doing for his relationship. And at some point, this kid is gonna start to think more like a man, even in his drug-induced mind, and that carnage he's creating with his dad, that those things he's doing. I pray so at some point he says, I'm messed up. That was wrong. But how do you fix the carnage?
Well, it's a great question and one that we ask ourselves a lot. We call it the wreckage of our past. And the only thing that you can do is make amends. And you can't make amends like, oh, I'm sorry. Amends have to be heartfelt. And you have to work with someone else who's been through it. They can teach you how to make amends in the right way. And the right way is to start by forgiving yourself. It sounds counterintuitive, but I know that the amends I made while I'm still harboring grudges and resentments and all this kind of stuff, and I've been wronged and all those types of thinkings, my amends were half-hearted, if that. So you start by forgiving yourself, which is a lot easy to say and very hard to do, but you have to in order to make proper amends, to go about cleaning up the wreckage of your past. And it can be financial, it can be relationships. There are any number of things that when you're in the disease of alcoholism or addiction of any kind, you have created this kind of wreckage, this carnage that you speak of. And how you go about cleaning it up depends on what you've done and who you're going to do with. But the thing is, the most important thing is, and I'm so sorry he didn't go into this program that you had lined up for him, because he would have met people that have been there, done that, and will help him to find the right way to be able to get in touch with his inner wisdom, his inner knowledge, and his inner peace.
Hmm.
And until he does that, he is going to be half hearted about everything that he does. This goes for all addicts. As I
But
say, we're all liars until we stop. And
does he not have to, James? Forgive me for cutting you off.
that's quite all right.
Does he not have to, at some point in this throw that he's in, before he can do any of those things that you're speaking about, or anything that I'm speaking about, does he not have to recognize within himself and say, I have a problem?
Absolutely. And the harder one for me, I could say I had a problem. Like someone would ask me, "Do you drink?" And I would say, "Oh, only to excess." Because it's glib, it's funny. And, you know, but I knew I had a problem, but I wasn't willing to do anything about it. And when people said, get help, that wasn't for me. Like I would have said no to this program too. It wasn't until I was desperate enough. And I still didn't think that I needed anyone else's help. I still thought I could do it myself. This is after liver failure. Doctor told me that if I drank again, I would die. And he didn't mean I would die eventually.
Mm-hmm.
It would be sudden. And he said, you got to get help. You got to pay for a therapist that specializes in this, or for someone, go to AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. And so I was 3 months later, I hadn't gone to anybody, I hadn't accepted any, I had not been willing to say I needed help.
Yeah.
And it was a hot summer day in my backyard. And I thought, oh man, one beer would taste so good right now. And then I heard my doctor's voice in my ear. I don't mean eventually. And I realized, as I said earlier, one beer would lead to two. And in my
Mm-hmm.
case, I wouldn't get a second chance.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only time, that was the only thing that took for me to be willing to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I went into my first meeting, I was still, I pulled up a chair closest to the door. So I had an easy out, an easy exit. And I looked at my watch every couple minutes. God, this hour is taking so long. I didn't want to be there. I wasn't listening to what anybody was saying. I hated everybody there. And one person told me, go to 90 meetings in 90 days or until you start to like it. And I was so in despair that I thought I would show you. I'll go to 90 meetings in 90 days and I'm going to be miserable the whole time. I'll show you.
Yeah, yeah, I'll show you. Yeah, I see
This
your
is
hand,
how
Karen. I see you.
twisted my thinking was.
Yeah.
And so when you're an addict, when you've been an addict for a while, your thinking is twisting. We often say I didn't have a drinking disease. I had a thinking disease. So my mind is so messed up. First thing you have to do is detox, get him off of anything that he's addicted to, and clear his mind and body of whatever the foreign substance is that is helping to twist the brain and to make it your ability to function may still be there. And it's not an accurate saying, but we also talk a lot about functional alcoholics,
Yeah.
functional addicts, because from the outside looking in, you still think things are going okay, but from the inside going out, things are awful. Uh, there's despair beyond description internally, but they're not going to show it. They're not going to let you in. They're going to let you think they got it together. They got it
Mm-hmm.
together. But inside, and this is what we have to touch with these people at some point, they have to get to the point, and we call it the gift of desperation, where they know they can't do it by themselves anymore. It took me liver failure. It took me 3 months after that. And it takes what it takes. Some people get it pretty quick. I didn't. I fought it.
Yeah.
And this is a 15-year-old we're talking about, John. Um, you know, for him, a year is going to seem like an eternity, you
Yeah.
know. And if he fights as long as I did, he'll be graduating high school, hopefully. But if he accepts it earlier, and many, many people do, you got a fighting chance. But after you detox, then you start your rehab process. The rehab process can include detox, but they may be two separate things. Detox is essential first step because you can't absorb any information if you're still in the throes. I bent my knee to a tyranny of alcohol, and I know what it does to you. And this doesn't mean that you can't hear, you can't think, but you're not going to let anything in until you get those things out of your system. And even then, if you're like me, you're going to be stubborn and think you know better. But there's going to be somebody, if it's 45 days, for example, often it's 30 days, but 45 is better, or 30 is maybe enough. You, something someone says will sink in.
Yeah.
It's the repetition,
Yeah.
and it's the hearing it
I
from
see,
the right person at the right time.
I see you, Tony. I see
It,
you.
it'll sink
I
in.
have a couple people with their hands up, James. James, I
Okay.
want to thank you, man. Man, I love you, man. I love you because um, I see John and I feel you, brother. I feel your pain. John trying to make some sense out of this stuff. John trying to figure this thing out. John screaming for man, make it make sense to me, man. This is and I feel you, man, and I appreciate you being here, and I pray that you receive something that'll help you to deal with what you're going through with your son. I see you, Tony. I Karen had her hand up. I'm gonna get to her, and then I'm gonna get to you. Come on, Karen, ask your question.
My question is this. I guess it's for James. Um, okay, so we understand that his son, John's son, is dealing with addiction. We understand that, what the addiction is and things like that. And if his son was an adult, you deal with it differently, like the tough love and things like that. What are the tools for John dealing with a child? Because he's a child, he's 15. What are the tools for him to deal with his son? Because, the whole CPS thing, where by the law he has to do certain things. But I mean, his pain, his hurt, his going through all, he's leading with his heart, but at the same time, there's got to be a line drawn in the sand. But what is right? What is wrong? How does he navigate through that? I wouldn't know. I wouldn't even know where to begin to tell him, oh, you do this or you don't do this, because that's tough. So what are the tools and the support out there for John? Not love the kid, but
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
John right now.
Great
And
question, Karen.
Okay.
yep, can I say something, Karen?
Of
Thank
course.
you. Like, because this is exactly like even why I am here right now. Like, I deal with this probably on an hourly basis, including not sleeping, not like whatever. Um, Full disclosure again, my own family, my parents, my sister, my two kids, all don't talk to me because my son had a conversation over Snapchat back and forth that I got, have screenshots, receipts of it, saying that I planted all the drugs on him in the room. We're talking about mushrooms, ecstasy, acid, tons of different weeds in 3 different forms, alcohol. I have pictures of it, send it to my family and said, this is what we're dealing with. Like us, we, because it's family. Um, my son and daughter like agreed back and forth. Eventually, they turned me into CPS because my son said I was violent in a situation where he was messed up. I was cleared, investigated and cleared on it. So I'm like now chasing my tail around it. So I go straight to like, who is like your person as a kid, no matter what you come through, usually you're going to say your mom. I went to my mom and said, hey, like, look at this conversation. It says in there that you and my dad were talking to, their grandkids, my kids, and saying that you kind of believe that I planted it. I mean, I found this stuff in Pop Tart boxes in the kitchen, Rice Krispie boxes, because my son knows I don't eat that stuff. So he put his drugs in there because I would search his room all the time. He's smart. Um, my mom's response, we have our questions and concerns. So I just put boundaries on my family and haven't talked to them in 2.5 months. And they haven't even reached out to me. And my son's been a runaway for 3 weeks. I don't know if they know it or not. I think my oldest son knows because they talk, but they want to point the finger at me, and they believe him because he's very like he's a great person, like he is, top to bottom. But I'm just trying to hold him accountable, trying to get him better, and that's where I'm at too, Karen. So thank you. It's that aspect of like, where do I go? Because half the times I want to be that dad. I want to be forward. I want to come and like, I'm right here. Like, let's go. Like all this stuff is set up. Even with my ex-wife, who's my son's mom, like we're tied together. We're both doing the same thing. And when we talk, we feel like we're the only ones going that understand the truth. And his counselors, they do. Mm-hmm. Everybody else is doing enabling, they're doing different things. The CPS worker, obviously, they deal with a lot of stuff on a daily basis. She called me after the interview and she goes, John, I'm just going to tell you this. I am sorry. You're dealing with some very difficult family members. Don't know why. You're a very good dad. You have all the resources. You've done whatever. I don't know why I'm investigating this. I have to for my job, but just keep doing what you're doing. Exact quote.
John, let me take over for that and answer the question. Tony, I see your hand is still up. So I'll just get my best shot at it. And John, you might not want to hear this, but what you need is a support community because you must be thinking you're nuts. You're crazy. And you can't believe. And one of the fewest, least likely places, I shouldn't say that this way, but so many of us have found that our family is not that support system. And so you're not alone in that. And if they are, great, but often the case is that they are not. But there are support systems that are built in for people like you going through what you were doing. In the alcoholic world, the sister program is called Al-Anon. And what they are people who are spouses or relatives or loved ones of people suffering from the disease of alcoholism. It's an alcohol usage disorder in the medical world. That's what they term it. They phrase it because it can be treated, not cured, but treated. And it's a substance usage disorder is what we, instead of saying addict, because this is part of the language that we need to change, so that people don't put the stigma, alcoholic, oh, there's a guy sitting in a bench in a raincoat drinking a bottle in a brown paper bag or something like that. That's an alcoholic. No, man, they come in all shapes, sizes, and stripes. And it's the same with substance use disorder. They can be anything. They can be 15, 50. And one person came into one of our programs at 85 and he was still there at 95. So, it's never too late. And this is especially true for a child. But what the child is going through and what the parent is going through are two different things, but they're one side of the same coin. And it's all about the insanity of addiction. And you're feeling part of it as the parent. And he doesn't accept it yet as an addict until he realizes when he gets in recovery, he'll realize I was freaking insane. And right now, this self doubt that you experience, perfectly natural, perfectly normal. Everyone I talk to in your situation goes through it. But Al Anon is where they work together and they go through steps 1 through 12 of what they need to do with each other. And they are a support system. And sometimes you get into this, well, you'll tell your story and someone will tell some story that's, even more heart wrenching, if you can believe it. And you'll think, oh my goodness, I'm glad I'm not that person, something like that. But what you find is that you're not alone. There are people going through it, and they will share with you their coping strategies. And these are not childlike coping strategies. These are adult coping strategies that get you through the day, that let you sleep at night. And you'll get a list of phone numbers of people that you can call. And I text. I'm still not good at calling. There's a couple people that I'm able to call, but most of the time I text them and they call me if it comes to that. But in any case, you reach out when you're really getting a little squirrely. You reach out somehow, some way. You establish that connection with one of these people, and they will know what to say to you in ways that we cannot because we have not been. I have not had a 15-year-old. I cannot reach you the way these people can. I can tell you what the addict is like, but I can't tell you what the dad of an addict is like because that's not my experience. You will find dads that are in your shoes, and their outcome will be either be wonderful or just awful. And
Thank you so much, man.
all of them.
Thank you very much. We want to. I see Tony. You had your hand up. Thank you. Thank you, James, for that. Tony, go ahead.
All right. You're really looking at a dad that went through that with my son. He tried to put me in jail because he couldn't do things his way, and they want to be grown quicker than they do. They want to do grown man things, and I wasn't allowing it. So my son stole a gun from me and ran off with the gun. And then when he found out I had noticed he stole it, he was scared to come home, and he went to the police and told them, well, I got this gun, but he got 3 other ones in the house. And you can find them here, here, and here. Now, in the state of New York, they finding guns, and you definitely going to do a lot of time behind guns. But my son tried to put me in jail, and I went through the child protective services and all of that because he lied and said I beat him and had guns and all kind of stuff. So it may not come to this for you, but it came to this for me. I got tired of the shit. And I mean that. 2, 3 years, I'm going back and forth, and I didn't do nothing to him. Nothing, like you didn't. What I did was provide him with a good home, good meals. He had all the latest toys. And that was the thanks I got. And after a while, I say after like a year and a half, going back and forth, my lawyer said, you know, Mr. Holmes, you can avoid all that. All you got to do is go up there and just tell him, hey, I neglected the kid. And I had been there at that time when he told me that. It was going on the 3rd year. And I was tired of this shit. I told him, man, forget it. Let's do it. And we go up there to the court, and I seen him with the DA and his little crew over there and his lawyer. And they had like a little coat over there, like a little coat. And I just went up there by myself, and my mother was there. And when he said, can you put your hand up and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, I put my hand up, and then he started reading off what I did to this kid. And I started crying like a 2-year-old baby because my pride, the man in me wouldn't let that. I'm not going to lie on myself. I did nothing but provide a good home. I put my hand down and cried, and I told him I can't do this. There's no way I'm gonna do this. I don't care if you throwing it out and all of that. No way. I did too much for this little bastard. I looked out too much, and it might get to this point with you, because I went through this, and I just could not do it. This is the other thing I want to bring up. Did you ever see your son doing drugs personally with your own eyes?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, smoking.
Okay, but
Yeah,
now
like
he
walked on him like three like that. I mean, he changed
okay,
the
now
door
he what was
locks.
smoking weed,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Okay, but now he had a abundance of other drugs, right?
Correct.
Here's my thing, man. Your son might not be a bigger drug addict as you think, because I'm gonna tell you what that is. Drug dealer moves. Your son may be a dealer, and you gotta. I'm telling you this. From first, I mean, I used to deal, and that's the shit I used to do. Hide it in the box and hide it
Me
under.
too.
I might be smoking a little weed, but my primary thing was to sell this stuff. So I'm just saying to you, you looking at one dimensional, like that's what he doing. But you know, he sounds like to me that he might have a little dealer in him too. He might do the stuff.
Oh
But
no, he does. Like I've caught him. No, I've caught him. Like no, he's friends with the dealers, and he's posted Snapchats like, "Hey, who needs Molly, ecstasy, acid, weed? I got it all." Like no,
there
because he
you
gets
go.
high on
There
his
you
own
go.
He ain't
supply.
doing all of that.
Yeah, he gets high on his own supply, and you know that's the whole way he like has money to fund it.
Yeah.
100%. So like I
And
even
still
said that.
yours, and he
I
steals
banned
yours when he
him. I
can.
banned him from a dealer and he brought over to my house and changed his name. So he went from Owen to Brandon. You know? Yeah. No, it's true.
That stuff will do it to you. But I mean, I just after all of this, I just thought about it and wow. I mean, unless he's a what they call it something in the meetings. They call it a garbage. What is it, James? When you do all of it,
I'm not sure what you're referring to, Tony, but
when you do
He
all the
can't be doing
drugs,
all that. He can't be doing mushrooms
when
and
you know
acid
when you
and
do all the
he
ecstasy.
drugs,
is.
they call it a.
Oh, I could. I did.
He did. Like, no,
Yeah.
Mushrooms, ecstasy,
But I also
acid.
sold, I
yeah.
also dealt.
I have
So
all
then
the
I could support.
receipts.
Yeah.
Like I said, Snapchat is the best part.
He
Snapchat will
doing
keep
all
you
that.
informed.
They didn't have Snapchat in my day,
See,
so
Yeah.
nobody knew.
just takes the
At
cake.
least I
I
thought.
mean, I just wanted to throw that out there and see who agrees with me on that because it seemed like he got a lot of dealer in him.
I was using too much to afford to
Variety.
be able to do it. I had to deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's him.
Yeah.
Like it's totally him.
So he's selling to keep going.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he
no,
does.
like yeah, and then he gets high on his own supply when he gets it, whatever he can do. Like I caught all that, and I've told him that like
Crash.
multiple times. You know,
But
That's a
John,
crash.
this is what I want to say to you. I hope that you've heard from your son. I mean, at least the last time you and I talked, he was MIA. Nobody heard from him. I hope somebody has heard from your kid by now because, you know, to disappear like that, and this is what made me think it was some dealer stuff involved because the girl overdosed. Now, in the courts and by law, if I sell the girl the stuff that she overdosed on, I'm getting ready to get in some shit. So, and you know, and I'm getting ready to leave the scene is what I'm gonna do because she overdosed and he don't know whether she died, whether she made it or not once you run off. And I hope that you've heard something from your son. You know, because to not hear from him in that long, you know, it's just not good.
no, I
Not
know
good.
exactly where he's at.
You do?
And
Okay. Okay.
yeah, and he was at his girlfriend's house, and she was the one that overdosed and was taken. The very next day, he leaves at 4 o'clock in the morning. The mom calls, like, hey, I just want to let you know that got up, your son, all his stuff's packed, gone. And I know where he's at. He's at his half sibling's place now, sleeping on the couch.
If you don't mind me asking, John, what did she OD on?
Benadryl and another substance.
Benadryl?
Benadryl, because kids, they'll crush it up, sniff it, but then another substance. So they're both like major downers, but she was out.
Wow.
ER, like,
Wow.
and yet another substance, people know what it is. I feel like my son gave it to her because he was there.
I see you, Chance.
Yeah.
Most likely he
Chance,
did.
I see your hand. Chance, come on, I see your hand up.
1 second. I'm walking the dog. Cars are going crazy. I just had a random question. So, like, I have one of my best friends actually overdosed on Molly at a Dave Matthews concert and died. And I had always like tried to help him. I'm always like, thank you. I'm always like, you need to stop. And I would always make an effort to try to help get him out of it. But is there a point where you just kind of like have to give up and accept it? Like, they obviously don't want the help. What are you going to do?
No, Chance, thank you, because that's where I'm at. And, I talked to James quite a bit about this, even leading up to this, was I had to put boundaries, boundaries on what I call probably the biggest F word or the worst F word, family, worse than the fuck, like family, like, because they do you dirty. As soon as I put the boundaries up, and then I actually had to go through a process with, full disclosure again, counselor, therapist, and what my worst nightmare with my son would be, and is overdose and dying. And I'm sorry about your friend Chance. I had to go through it, like the emotions. And once I went through it, it took me, probably a good 48 hours before I finally like got out of it. But when I did, it was like I had acceptance. Wow. And now I'm like, I can go to my grave and say that I have done anything and everything to get him into where he needs to be. And if he keeps not accepting, not wanting even just, again, I raised him since 3.5. Right. So the last 12 years of love, care, concern. He did not grow up on the streets. He grew up in a cul-de-sac on the river. He had resources. But if you want to go live this life and you want to deny everything that either your mom wants to give you or I want to give you, I don't care. Like anybody else that's positive in whatever, and you want to go do this, then you know what? And this is, I have to say, this probably just yesterday, and I didn't sleep even last night. Like, then go do it.
And Chance, thank you for that question. And everybody needs support, including those people that are helping other people. So I talk to other people that are either sponsors or mentors and people going through recovery. And one of the things that we tell each other is you can't chase. And what that means is that if someone wants to go do what they're going to do, you can't let them bring you down with you. You cannot chase after them and try to help them, even though your intention is good and you want what's best for them. No. You cannot chase someone doing that stuff. That makes sense. Self-care is not selfish. You have to give yourself a break. Show the compassion you would to yourself, and that you're not responsible for what that person did. And we will drive ourselves crazy if we try to think that we were. I could have done this. I could have done that. I should have done this. No. You did what you could. It wasn't enough. It's heartbreaking. But take care of yourself. And this is what John is trying to do too. He needs to take care of himself, but he also needs people he can call and talk to that have been through it. They will be the truest source of solace for John. And for people like yourself, Chance, who have seen someone, a friend, overdose and die, these are the types of experiences that you can't sweep under the rug. So feel the pain, like John's just talking about, feeling the pain, the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Feel it. But feelings pass, they're not permanent. And so don't let that prevent you from having a joyous experience tomorrow or later tonight.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much, James. I see Veronica, then you, Bernadette. Come on, Veronica.
Hi. I just want to say, totally sucks. But I know that no matter what, it's like for him, you're probably like ruining his party. He's, on the go, and no matter what you say, it's like he's gonna rebel. And it's like more and more push away, because like, you're trying to help. So it's like the worst situation to be in. I mean, I feel for you, I really do, but I know that you are a strong person. Look, I mean, I know you've lived a crazy life, and you have so much going on. Like you have so much that you've pushed him in a great direction. I mean, you can do so much for him, and that's the part that sucks, because he's like pushing you away. So it's definitely scary, but I mean, at least you know where he is, and he is staying in contact a little bit. So, he hasn't, given up on you just yet. Like, he knows you're still there. But he tried to get Bubba to come on, but they weren't available. um, he I said to Tony the other night, I said, he is like a little man, that kid. I'm like, it's just crazy to give advice like that at like 18 years old, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you for sharing, and thank you for coming on. Just know you always have a place here. We're always here for you. I know it's once a week, but we're here.
Thank you, Veronica. Thank you for that. And she's absolutely correct. We're here for you. This is, as James Eade said, we like to make this and think of this as a safe place for people to come and everything that happens here on that's said here on Let Your Voice Be Heard Talk Radio. That's Let Your Voice Be Heard right here on this platform. We thank you for sharing and thank you for being here and being so transparent. I saw, where's she at? Bernadette. I saw your hand up. We got one or two more questions, and James, and I hope we pray John will be back here next week. I know James will be here. The show is at 8 o'clock every Friday. Come on, Bernadette. You got to unmute.
I
You
can
got to
see you
unmute.
trying.
We can't hear you. I see your lips moving, but we can't hear you.
She's trying. She's pushing every
I
button.
see.
There we
There you
go.
go.
How about now?
There you go.
How about now?
Yeah, I got you. Come on.
Okay. So, John, I think it's great that you're reaching out and looking for answers. I don't personally have kids, but I do have a 13-year-old brother. And I guess what I would do if I found him experimenting, I say experimenting because your son's only 15. Like he hasn't done a hard life of doing this for years on end, right? This could all very much still be the experimental phase. And I wonder if you realize that. Of course, you as his dad, you love him and you don't want to see him go through this at all. But I would try to relate to him and say, lots of us have experimented, and with it out of my life is better. Like, dad has a good life. Or if I were in this situation, I'd say to my little brother, hey, I've tried smoking pot too. Like, it doesn't have to be your whole identity. And just like, instead of maybe, I don't know if James can speak on this, but does that make a difference? Not putting them in the corner and saying that everything they're doing is wrong, but that, hey, maybe we've gone through similar things in our life too. Is that something that you would do for advice, or is that just what I'm thinking?
I get it. Like, thanks, Bernadette. Like, I appreciate it. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
He smokes from the time he gets up all day.
Yeah.
Like nonstop, every single day at 15. And if you go and like look up brain development and what everything that it causes, in like on his body growing, is that positive? Is it negative?
Oh,
As a
yeah, no.
parent? Yeah.
I would be very worried. I'd be very, if it was a daily thing, like in the way that he's doing it. I just wonder if it's coming down so hard on him from both angles, from both parents, from everybody who knows that he's messing up his life. Like, who's he going to trust to talk to? Is
Correct.
that
So, and that's where, like I've said multiple times, even in the beginning, and then when the gateway stuff happened, and I'll go back to even Chance with his friend taking Molly's. I mean, that's what he was started doing, and then he kept doing that. And I only know it because I had his phone getting grounded, took it, good parent going through it, then
Yeah.
seeing all of this stuff that I didn't even know. And I'm 4 or 5 months behind, as a parent that I should have probably kept up on. So then like now he's already like here. Now he's like dealing, like Tony said, in doing all that. So then I'm bringing it all in. And I didn't grow up in a great place. I grew up in a area that dealers were normal. That's how people were fed. So to me, that was kind of normal, but I also said this is a different life because there's heavy gangs and people are dying from it. So he knows all that stuff. And then and this is not just like a 3 month experiment thing. This is now going on a year. And again, my fault. I didn't catch it until 6 months. He was already that far into it. And then it was just like mind blown. So I hear what you're saying, and I've taken the good cop, I've taken the bad cop, I've had the other side doing the same thing from it. He just wants to be high all the time, and he has ADHD, he's got anxiety, he's got all the stuff that he was medicated with and taking his meds growing up because as parents, they're younger, take it, whatever. He just said, you know what? I don't want to take it. I'm going to self medicate. He started doing that. And then even his psychiatrist was going like, well, John, you can't shove it down his throat, you know? So if he doesn't take it, he doesn't take it. And now he's using these other substances to do it. And then he's got enablers. So
let me say something real quick before we go. James, you correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going towards what Bernadette's talking about. Unfortunately, addiction doesn't have a child cap proof on it. Where he's a kid experimenting, so he's exempt and it won't happen to him. I could just explain that's something I've been through, and I don't think that is going to apply when you're dealing with as John is dealing with his 15-year-old is an addict. He's in the throes of addiction. There's no easy fix talk, a soft talk. If there was a soft talk, John would be going through what he's been going through.
And I remind everybody too that he was born an addict based on his bio mom using all 3 trimesters in the womb. Yeah.
So I don't know, James, if that's phrased right in my mind. From what she was saying, I'm saying, well, there's not a child-proof cap on addiction, and it doesn't care. It doesn't care if you was 5. It don't care if you was 105. It's there, and it's available to you if you divil and dabble in it. It's there.
Yeah, experimenting is a real thing, and some people do that. Addiction is a real thing, and that's what John's son is doing. Mm-hmm. He's an addict.
Yeah. So, thank you guys, man. Anybody else got any questions before we go? I love you guys, man. And John, man, listen, we need you, man. I need you to continue coming. I need you to continue coming because, me personally, I want to know, man, what's going on with your son and what's happening, how you're doing. As I think I heard Karen ask, what is going on with you? Because this has not just an effect on your son, and we're worried about him, but how are you holding up, and what kind of help do you need to make it through this? Because eventually, at some point, you're gonna get through this. it's gonna make sense. You're gonna come to some conclusions.
Hey, John, use Snapchat to connect to people like you.
So Veronica, I see you said how was his sleep pattern? He was saying that he didn't sleep last night. So I get that. I get that. But you guys, my panel, I love you guys. I love all you guys. James will be on next week. James will be on every week.
And John, you sleep well tonight.
Yes, sleep well. We're praying for you. We're praying for you, John, and we're praying for you. And I have faith that this too shall pass, and that you will get through this, man. And we're gonna be here for you. We're here for you. We're here for you. Here at Let Your Voice Be Heard Talk Radio. We are here for you, my brother. I mean, this is awesome stuff. So much so, James is here every week at 8:00. We're gonna be here every week at 8:00. So, and we would love for you to continue coming, man. So, listen, because everybody here, man, listen, there's no judging and none of that, because that could be or may be any of us. Any of us. So we with you, my brother. We love you, man. And keep pushing and keep on fighting, man. And we're going to keep pushing and keep praying. I love all you guys here that come every week. Every week. We love you guys. And we wish you guys the best. Come back next week. James, you awesome, my brother. You are family. And we love you.
I just want to speak up and speak out. Hold my hand.
We can't wait till next week. This your boy.
A special thank you to Tony Holmes, owner and founder of Let Your Voice Be Heard, for creating a platform where every voice matters and every story has the opportunity to be heard. Until next time, and remember, let your voice be heard. It's your boy now.
But your name's still missing from the roll call. Let your voice be heard. Say